Welcome to Savoir Labs. I'm Jamie Goodyear. I just watched Jeff Geerling's awesome video on benchmarking Deepseek-R1 14b on a Raspberry Pi with an add-on AMD W7700 GPU. I want to find out how is our Dell R250 lab machine going to run the same thing, keeping in mind it has an NVIDIA RTX A1000 GPU installed. Let's see how it runs next. Before we start our benchmarking, let's review our Dell system. The R250 comes with an Intel Xeon E2378, that's 8 core, 16 threads, 128 gigabytes of DDR4 ECC RAM running at 3200 megatransfers, and we've added in an NVIDIA RTX A1000 GPU with 8 gigabytes of video RAM. Before we start benchmarking, let me just explain what's on the screen. Above us, we have our terminal where we're going to run the Ollama Benchmark that Geerling has provided to the world. And on the top right, we have BTOP running, showing us the system's memory, CPU, and other vital stats. And on our lower right-hand side, we have NVTOP, so we can take a look at how the video card is running. Let's start off our benchmark by running a more familiar model. We're going to start this one off with the Llama 3.2 latest. Now let's just see how many tokens per second we get with this 2 gigabyte model. And it looks like we're just shy of 65 tokens per second. Let's rerun the benchmark. This time we're going to run in the Mistral. Now this is a 4.1 gigabyte model, so we want to see how this works on the video card. Keeping in mind the video card only has 8 gigabytes of RAM, so as we're running these tests we're using more and more memory. Now this larger model, unexpectedly, we have now just a little over 39 tokens per second being processed. Let's start trying out Deepseek. We're going to start with the 1.5b model. That is the smaller 1.1 gigabyte model. And we see how this loads into the video card, and we're getting a pretty good rate now of about 102 tokens per second. Let's run the larger size. We're going to now put in Deepseek 8b. Now this model is 4.9 gigabytes, and that's going to use up most of the video card space. So let's see how fast this machine can run it. We got 32 tokens per second. Now keep in mind that used up most of the memory. Let's see what happens when we go to the larger 14b model. Now this model I fully expect to not run as fast. It's a 9 gig model on a 8 gig video card. Let's see if it runs. There we have it. We have about 8 tokens per second running on the RTX A1000. Let's compare this to a slightly more powerful system, our AMD lab machine. Let's review our AMD lab system. It has a Ryzen 9 9950X, that's a 16-core 32-thread part, with 128 gigs of DDR5 RAM running at 5600 megatransfers, and an NVIDIA RTX A4000 GPU with 16 gigs of video RAM. Now we're on our AMD system with the RTX A4000 GPU. Let's take a look at how the benchmarks run on this system. We're going to start off by running the smallest of our models, just to have an idea how they compare between the Dell system and this AMD system. We can see that our Llama 3.2 has given us 131 tokens per second. Let's take a look at how Mistral runs. Here we can see we hit 80 tokens per second. Now let's get into Deepseek. We're going to start with the smallest of the models and work our way up to the 14B. I fully expect the 1.5B to be very quick. We hit 207 tokens per second. And the 8B model, let's see, where are we going to get? We'll notice that we are starting to use up quite a nice amount of our video card memory, but because we have a lot more memory on this video card, it is not having to do as much work to fit this in. You can see our GPU is currently pegged. And this time we got just shy of 66 tokens per second. Let's run the 14B model. It'll be interesting to compare this time because we have plenty of memory for them all to fit in. Let's see how fast the system can get our full test run. Oh wow, 38 tokens per second. That was really quick on the AMD system. So let's recap. On the Dell R250 machine with the A1000 RTX card, we saw at the higher end model, the 14B, a very slow rate of about 8 to 9 tokens per second. It was pretty slow loading, and that 8 to 9 tokens per second isn't very performant, but it ran and gave us back some results. Deepseek's 8B and 1.5B models, on the other hand, yeah, we're seeing between 32 all the way up to 102 tokens per second. That's very, very quick, and it's usable for some small applications. You might be able to use this for inferencing on the edge. When we looked at our AMD system running the much larger A4000 RTX card, yeah, we see almost a doubling in performance, and that's awesome. That's probably what I want to use if I was in my own lab or I'm running this in my own data center. This is all being run on Ollama locally on our machines, so this represents running this in our own DCs. Those numbers are much more usable, really, really cool. I will note though, we are comparing a 50 watt A1000 card to a 140 watt A4000 card. The doubling of the CPU and the faster RAM on the AMD system, yep, that helps as well. But effectively what we're seeing is a relatively entry-level R250 system being able to provide pretty good performance compared to a custom-built AMD system that we put together specifically to have a lot of extra bandwidth just to run Ollama locally. That being said, that was our comparison. The numbers are up here. Please leave any questions or comments below the post, and please like and subscribe. Talk to you guys soon. Cheers.